on here? Okay, back with another live stream, and I'm going to sidetrack again. First, I was doing work trying to get my server rebuilt, pick the right machine. Well, I was working on DNS server day before yesterday. Okay, day before that, the days before that, working on my actual server, my web server, which machine, getting my new machines upgraded to Fedora 28 and everything. So anyway, it all works together. But in the meantime, let's see. Go ahead and go to my desktop here and make sure everything's working as it should. We're going to go to my virtual machine here. Yeah, I'm trying to check my sound and talk at the same time, but I can't walk and talk and chew bubblegum all at the same time. So let me get it all working, and then suddenly the video wasn't playing on my laptop. I had to reload it and see if it's going to work now. Stuff you can't see, stuff in the background here. Okay, there we go. I just had to make sure my stream was working. There's no point going on. Okay, so yeah, let's make sure my backup video is working. Okay, I'll close that. Too many apps going. So in VirtualBox here, I don't have anything running right now, but I had copied my WinXP Pro virtual machine that I had on this Lenovo i5. You know, I had it backed up, so I copied it back into the new Fedora 28 system, and Microsoft saying, "Oh, you've got to activate Windows." So I didn't want to fool with it for a long time, and then finally the other day I said, "Okay, I need to use it because I needed to run Make Files Contiguous on my easy-to-boot USB stick." And because I added a new file to it, and you have to do that a lot of times when you do that. And so anyway, I went ahead, and I didn't do it on video. I don't know. I just thought, I've made videos of doing, I made videos of this kind of stuff a lot before. But anyway, once I went so far, I was like, man, I wish I was making a video. So here I am, and I made screenshots. I always do that when I'm doing stuff that I want to help myself remember. So there's what pops up. You need to activate, need to validate and activate and all that. I don't know. It's kind of small text there. Oh, let's go full screen, and then we will be able to. This is a different viewer than I usually use. The one I like so much, GwenView. I've used it for years and years and years. For some reason, in Fedora 28, it opens up really, really slow. Takes forever to get to where you can, just hit the keyboard and go back and forth. So this one, Photox, whatever the name is, go in there, about Photox. I've used it before, and I just thought, let's try it out, and I like the way it works. It's good viewer, and it actually has a lot more. I liked GwenView because you could do some, not just a little more than basic editing. And this one looks like it'll do a lot of the same things. And the layout's good. The only thing is I have not used it just 2 days here, and all I've really done is just thumb through them. But I want so let's see. Should we right click? Oh yeah, we can do just almost everything from right there. Right click. I think that's just for the images though. I guess it'll do full screen. Let's try FL. Oh, let's look. Surely there's a little button that says full screen. Maybe it doesn't do slideshows, but that doesn't matter. I don't want it to be, doesn't need to be automatic anyway. Should just be, see, it's got plenty of stuff it'll do. So maybe it doesn't do full screen, or seems like it would have, F11 makes it full screen just like in most apps. Okay. So that's really actually very convenient. So this may be my new favorite. Depends on what order it shows the images in, I guess, but it looks like it's going to show them by default. Well, I think I set it that way. I remember that was the first thing I noticed when I was viewing. Somewhere in there you can set, it's kind of hard to tell the app from the screenshot when it's a screenshot of your desktop. But anyway, there's a way to set it, and I set it to newest to oldest, and then I just find what I want to view, and then I can just page through it. So okay, F11, there we go. So I'm confused, but oh well. That's what these videos are all about. Though I'll go often to everything, but that's what my purpose of making these videos is, to show how different ways to do things in Linux and whatever operating system I'm in, and things I've learned and things I'm forgetting and remembering and everything else. So anyway, got to validate, so resolve. Now I got off into had trouble getting my screenshots. I needed to. Well, what it was is when you're in a virtual machine, so this is XP running in VirtualBox. So when you hit I always use the print screen key to take a screenshot. Well, it wouldn't do it. It won't do it in this window, because the instant you just hover your mouse, you don't have to click on anything. Just have your mouse in this window. Well, it lets XP take over your mouse and keyboard, right? So it wasn't doing anything at all, because there's nothing set up in there to do that. So, and I really didn't want to save them into that virtual machine. I want to save them on my main desktop anyway. So, finally messed around with the apps. So I got off on different screenshots. I found out I looked in there and I had 1, 2, 3, 4 screenshot apps. It took me a while to figure out. Actually, I still don't know which one is the default when I hit print screen. But I finally just set up, and while I was there, this is something that could be important. Your startup applications. Some of my boot errors, I thought I was looking through there, and actually I meant to go into preferred applications, but I accidentally went into startup applications, and I saw that I had VMware User Agent booting up in the background, running in the background, and VBox Client, and I think I need that for VirtualBox to work right, but I don't think I need VMware. I think I installed it, if I remember right, but I haven't been using it because it's harder to get things up and going. And a lot of that stuff doesn't need to start with the machine anyway. It can start when you start the application, but other things, this right here, I think maybe that might need to be running. But so I did one, and then the next time I reboot, if my boot errors some of them go away. I've got 2 separate types of boot errors that slows down my booting. Doesn't hurt anything the way the machine runs. Then I'll know that's where the problem is, and I already tried to fix it, and it didn't work. I did everything it told you to do and read everything in the command line, and it didn't fix it. It didn't do anything. It said it did, but it didn't. Nothing changed. So anyway, so I took it out, and so now I'm getting my screenshots set up. So I set the delay on every one of them, every screenshot app. Oh yeah, I could have skipped all this really, but anyway, I set the delay to 4 seconds, because that way you got time to switch windows and get to the one. What just happened? Oh, it's zooming. I forgot. Okay, so I can switch windows. See, what I'd have to do to get the, if I hit print screen, go off in another desktop, or that's what I call them, desktops, workspaces, that's what they call them. And then if they have it on a delay, then you have time to click back over. Well, I wasn't getting a delay, and I didn't know which one I was actually using. So I just thought I'll set them all on 4 second delay. Well, that still didn't help me. I finally just decided to manually use shutter screenshot. It's actually my favorite, but there's one thing about it is every time you take a screenshot, it makes like a preview, a full size. It takes a full size image and puts it in the app's window. See if it'll show it here. Yeah, there's nothing in there right now, but they just add up, and then they use up your RAM before you know it. So you have to. I used to use it all the time, and I would just manually close them all, but I got tired of doing that. And whichever one's the default in Fedora 28, I don't know if it's made screenshot or what. And here's the help for whichever one it was, but it doesn't say the name of it in there that I saw. I think I figured out this was the one. Does it say the name in there anywhere? I don't think so. So sometimes, used to that print screen, you had to set up your keyboard shortcuts to make it work at all. But now, the last since 23, it's been setting one up. Whichever one that comes with Fedora up is default. It's probably Mate because I'm using the Mate desktop, but it might not be. Oh, and now, no, they are not going in order. Damn it. I'm completely off the ramps here. Those are all in order, but the others are not. Dang it. I thought I went through about 3 or 4, and they were in order, so I thought, okay, I'm all good. Damn it. Okay. So what I was trying to show you here is my screenshots of file view. Maybe that's how you do it. Gallery. Tools. Okay, so I like it, but I'm not familiar with it enough to even remember how I set it in the somewhere in there. You can set the. That's probably why I used it and then quit using it, because I couldn't remember how to set things in here. It's not up there. Since I'm trying to hurry. I'm in the middle of a video. I'm probably missing it over and over and over. I don't know. Let's just close it and get into the one that I know will work. Yeah, I'll just open GwenView up and go straight to GwenView, because I know it'll go in the order I want it to, or at least I think it will. So I think that's the screenshots folder right there. So if I do it in thumbnail view, then see, I need to go down to the first one and then work my way back. Now, see it just the thumbnails take forever to come in. Now I do have a lot in that folder, but just the whole app, it's just turned into a snail at opening up and getting ready to use. I guess I could have tried one of the others, but I didn't. I just know this one does go in the right order I want. But see, it won't even respond right now. I don't know why in the world. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's not. This machine is fast enough. It doesn't matter if I'm making videos or not. It's not being overwhelmed. Let's see. 628. So I've got to. I usually don't open them that way. I usually open them from the file manager. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I see the XP. So yeah, here's the one I was at. Okay, so there's the ones I've already shown. We don't need to page through them again. But I want to get in the right place here. Oh, rolls too many. When I roll the mouse wheel, it rolls too many. Okay, I think if I do that one, see up here there's a little button full screen. That's what I'm used to using. So, okay, that's where I was. Now, this copy of Windows must be activated. Do you want to do it? And I said yes. And then the next one is, do you want to activate it online? Do you want to call them up? Or do you want us to log you off? Okay, you're going to do it or you ain't using it. It will not boot. Well, it had like whatever, so many days, you know, and I just didn't mess with it. Okay, so, and the last time I tried to do this in a video, it wouldn't work. It couldn't connect. It said it couldn't connect. It kept trying, and I tried it 3 times in a row. And I thought maybe I was going to have to say yes. I want to register and all that crap. Seems like I remember before it wouldn't work until I did that. But this time, this is like several days later, it worked. But I said no, I don't want to register. I just want to activate, and it worked. So success. And normally, with my virtual machine, I've had to reactivate it several times over the years. I've been using it for years on this machine. I think I may have I can't remember. You can either import a previous VirtualBox file, a VDI file, or you can just straight install to the virtual machine just like you would on a hardware machine. And at some point I installed it, activated it with all that. It's not on any other machine or anything. It used to be I bought this, the Pro CD, years ago for a machine I built. And I call it my Blue FIC. Actually, I originally put it on a compact Windows. It was a Windows 98 compact. And then I took that hard drive out of that compact when I built my Pentium 4. put it in there, and it wouldn't, it wouldn't boot. So I said you had to call them, or registered or whatever. So I called them, and they actually I think they told me, what did they tell me? They weren't completely horsey that time. I have called them a few times over the years, and they can be really horsey, Oh, you have to pay if you want to do that, when you already own it, you already paid for it, So anyway, I ended up reinstalling, I think, on a new hard drive, and then used it for years. And so anyway, now that machine doesn't have it; has Linux on it, and so I decided, well, hey, I've got that license, So I put it in here, and I've been using it for years. But when I reformatted this Lenovo i5, that's when all this started again. And I used I imported or just copied my backup. I can't even remember which one I did. You can go up. Oh, I'm not in VirtualBox, but you can either import a virtual image or just copy it over to the folders, And I think you still have to say add a machine. So anyway, booted up, and actually even, okay, it got widescreen and everything like I wanted it to do. I thought it was going to stay like that at first. But once it got completely booted up, and see, this is all I've spent time setting it up, and it has what I need on there, the apps. And I still do that like Windows 3.1. I like to put the apps I use a lot on the desktop. And and I resized it. I made it bigger, and that could have been what made a difference. I resized. It was full. What the original size I had made it was full, so I had made it bigger. I figured out how to do that, and so then I wanted to be able to let's see. Oh, F11 works in there too. I wanted my 32 gigabyte SD card in the USB adapter with easy to boot on it, my multi-boot setup. I wanted to be able to boot a new ISO on it, Fedora 28 server DVD, i386 DVD ISO. And that's the whole thing. That's why I'm back to messing with this. So it wasn't showing up. I plug in my USB, and you could go up here to devices. I'll have to show you when I get in there. And normally, you'd go up there and say, mount the USB, basically. It just said, and it wouldn't show up. And so I went and kept going through the settings. I added a USB. I didn't notice I didn't even have a USB filter here. So I added one. Still no show. Still just the C and the C drive and the C. So it's just CD drive, just like normal. Which I have used them before. You can access the CD drive of the machine through VirtualBox. Sometimes you have to set some things up. So I'm showing here. This is what I'm trying to do. So USB settings, no USB device is connected. Also, I happen to notice that in the optical drives, you've got two things already there that that's the actual DVD of the machine. And then at some point I had put ReactOS is actually a Windows NT clone open source project. It's like they wrote it from scratch to be sort of a clone, Windows NT like system. It's been around for 15 years or something, I think, and it's beginning to get to work. They've worked very slowly but very steadily and hard on it, what I've read, and I've tried it, but it's so there's nothing comes with it. Well, they can't just any kind of Microsoft drivers or not Microsoft drivers, but .NET and things like that. Any of that junk, you're going to have to install it. It doesn't come with it because it can't because of the licenses. So anyway, it takes a lot. I would take a lot to get it because I started to try using. That's why it's in there, because I tried to when I had trouble with the XP. I thought, well, crap, I'll just use this, but it was going to still take a lot of work. I still want to mess with it, but that's always got all this stuff you want to do. You may not get around to it. So I restarted, turned off. Actually turned off, I guess, that time. Then I realized, okay, I need to share. You go into the shared folders in the setup for VirtualBox, and you have to share your. And so I shared that. It's already plugged in and mounted, so I was able to share it with VirtualBox. And but notice I didn't select auto mount. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that because I didn't want it to. Used to, when you mounted a USB into XP, it would take it away from your main machine. You couldn't use them both at the same time. And so I didn't know if I wanted to do that, so I did. Still didn't work. So I went back and I went ahead and put auto mount, and the make permanent just came up. That was already there, and so then I had to restart the machine, the virtual machine. Finally, it worked. It finally showed up. So then the make this drive contiguous CMD. That's what I wanted to run on here to try to get it to that. It has to be defrag. That's what it is. It's a little, like standalone defrag program. It won't work right unless it's been defragged right. And so, and I also looked in there, and still, even though it's working, it still doesn't show any USB devices. So I guess that's because what you're doing when I did that, share those drives, that's actually sharing them over the network. And maybe I'm missing some plug-in or something, because used to the way I like it, fine, that's fine. I don't care as long as I can access the drives, have permissions to write files and do all that. I don't care if it's a network or sees it as a regular USB drive. Not everything I've been needing to do anyway. I'm not going to try to boot one of those USBs inside of another virtual machine, so it doesn't matter. But it used to show up here, and that's what you would do. You'd click USB, and then there would be options to mount them and unmount them, basically. I don't remember the words that they used, but I think it would just show the drive, and then you'd click on it. And so anyway, it's not doing that still, but it's working by sharing those drives with via the network, kind of a virtual network, I guess. But because it's just from this machine, the host machine to the virtual machine through networking. And so anyway, it's working. And so then I ran my make these files contiguous, and this pops up. And then normally it's kind of weird because sometimes it works basically, and sometimes it doesn't. And that'll pop up for a while, and then it'll just close. Now, if it was going to work, at least every time I've seen it, it'll pop up a GUI right after this closes, and that's not it. That's just me looking at the properties of the file. Anyway, it'll pop up a GUI, and if it's got a lot of work to do, it'll stay there for 10 or 20 minutes and work. For some reason, I guess it thinks it's already made contiguous. I don't know if it's something to do with the Fedora ISOs or what. But I saw these when I was trying to boot it last time. I saw these messages saying the config ISO file is smaller. See, it's only 476 megabytes than the ISO I'm trying to boot. So it tells you to replace it. I remember it said replace it with any file that's bigger. It says bigger than that ISO, and so I looked and how big is it? Well, I knew it was like 3 gigabytes. It's 2.55 gigabytes. But I thought, why would you need a file that big? So I don't understand. I was kind of thinking maybe I should just delete that file and run it again. But, well, I don't want to just delete it and really break it. So because I can delete this ISO and all the rest of them will work. I've been doing that. But I think I might back it up to my backup drive and then delete it. But I think first I'll just try to do. It says any file. I remember that. I've read that message over and over lately. I mean, you can't have a text file that big. I don't want to just put. I mean, I don't want another copy. I don't know. I mean, I don't think the file is supposed to actually be that big. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. That's why I kind of thought, why don't I just delete it and let the program do it for me? But anyway, that's where I am now. And yeah, I went ahead and turned on auto mount on my big Seagate backup drive so that it'll be accessible. And then I said, okay, I need. I wanted to try to boot. I was thinking, well, I don't want to pop that USB out, put it in another machine and fool with booting it. So I thought, okay, only set me up another. I don't even have a Linux virtual machine set up. Now I thought, well, why don't I just import a VDI? Well, I tried importing. I went into my backup drive and my whole downloads, everything. If you just type in this little window, it takes a very long time when you do that. When you're in like a folder with lots of files. and it's and it'll start searching. And so I just type VDI. That's the file extension. Well, the main file extension. VirtualBox will boot a few others, but it'll boot VDIs, and that's generally what I download. So I found Fedora Automatic, tried to import it, and it didn't work. So got an error. And so that's after that. Well, I had already decided by this time that while that was searching, I'd go ahead and make a video. But I had been making the screenshots. So this is actually probably a good several hours here worth of. I don't know. It feels like I'm taking longer to go through the screenshots than it did to do it, but it probably is taking a lot shorter. So anyway, had some errors that none of it helped me. I didn't understand, any of it, except for error failure and stuff like that. So nothing that told me really what went wrong for me to understand. So what else we got? Okay, that's the last screenshot. So there we go. There's my day and half my day so far in screenshots. Wasn't that exciting? Okay, let's go to VirtualBox and check my stream and everything. So see, here's my my WinXP virtual machine, and something I'm not hearing my sound over there. I want to make sure I'm not messed up. I see. Oh, that's because I think I'll close the browser and open it back up. There's something going wrong there. Okay, open it back up in a minute. Well, you know what? Usually when I have that memory in my head, go ahead and check your stream. I should probably do it. So I'll check it on here. And while that thing is kind of getting a bit of a rest. Usually it does real good, but yesterday it did that, and today now it's doing it again. Let's see, live dashboard. I didn't. A lot of times before I start, I'll reboot my virtual machine. Reboot my router and modem, but I didn't today because I did it last night. A lot of times before I start. Okay, that's good. That's working. Okay, so let me go ahead and open the browser back on this other machine so I won't forget. No, it was updating. Maybe that was something that made it give trouble. So I'm not going to import. Well, I can still import. Well, instead of actually that was the only VDI I found in there. I know I have others in my old other machine, but of course I could have some. It really didn't matter. I just was wanted to make a new machine. I want to add. Oh, okay. Yes. And now here is my all VBox is what it default that it makes it as WinXP Pro VDI. Virtual machine. Oh, there's no VDI in there. I don't know why I made that folder. Well, let's hit cancel. Let's go to the file manager and see. Well, first I need to get that live dashboard back up over there. Okay, go to the file manager. Did I click on it? I don't think I did. Since I was showing that folder, I'll show you. Okay. Yeah, VirtualBox VMs, WinXP, VBox, logs. Yeah. See, they automatically grow. They don't. That way, you don't use up too much space. Now, there's the VDI, which just wasn't showing up. So the WinXP Pro VDI, and it's now 8.9. It's 8.9 gigabytes. But I noticed I started out running it straight off my USB backup drive, and it wasn't running well. It was running really slow. So I think that there's just not enough data transfer on a USB 2.0. That thing will do 3, but I don't have 3 on this machine. But if I go back to let me flip through my backup drive a little bit. And get my now I've got my preview back there working again. Okay, so my Linux, mostly it's all going to be in there. I use my keyboards a lot quicker. So this is my stuff that I've downloaded recently. The one that I'm wanting to boot is this one right here. It's a Fedora server DVD i386. That'll run on my, ones that aren't 64-bit. And then the net install is what I use to install it on the Net Pro Max. And then I got Live Security and Mate, which I used to install on this machine that I'm running right now. And 29's out now. I didn't realize I had downloaded. I downloaded server net install Arch64, which I deleted the Fedora 28 version of it the other day. I wasn't paying attention. I thought it was the wrong architecture for anything I have, and then I realized that's what they call the ARM version. They don't call it. Used to call it ARM, 64. They're calling it AARCH64. Anyway, I hadn't realized they'd changed that. And let's see, do I have that in here? I don't think I do. Yeah, I had it and I deleted it. So I downloaded it back and have it from my Raspberry Pi. I'm going to try it out on my Raspberry. I thought I might. I'm actually thinking I might. Since I figured out the other day that Linksys router is just not going to handle being my server router out there. It just doesn't have enough upload speed. That's why my website keeps going up and down, up and down. I suspected that, but I hadn't went out there and did any speed tests, so I did the other day, and I was making a video of it and everything. And sure enough, I'm just not getting enough speed for upload speed. I got 10 megabits upload, and they say we could get up to 200, but the most I've seen is 135 megabits. I have a new router. They said my router is actually supposed to be capable of that, but they on their records thought, well, I needed a new router, and they don't charge you for it. I used to own my router, but I mean not router, modem. The modem. Anyway, they sent me a new one. I haven't installed it yet, and I need to do that. But let's see what we got here. I just want to see if I've got any. Yeah, here's some Raspberry Pi. I've got Fedberry. I think that might be that's Fedora is what it is. It's a remix of Fedora 4 Raspberry Pi. I've been wanting to try some of those out, and I just downloaded this one the other day, Motion iOS. It looks pretty cool. It's just for plugging in USB for either using the Raspberry Pi camera or a USB camera and serve it up and everything for you to be able to access it. React OS, there that is. That's the newest one I've got there. Kepler Sky Rescue. Let's see, Devane. I don't think I have any. I've got Devane 9, which I think is still the newest one. And Bitdefender. I'm looking for in virtual. There's my easy to boot backup. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking I would do. ISOs, Linux. I was wondering what I have in there. Yeah, it looks like I have a bunch of stuff in there. I could probably, if I'm missing any, I can that'd be my backup of those. I can copy them back to my other folder and then delete them. I don't need to, have this all filled up with these ISOs as long as I have them. And I won't notice them in there, I'll forget they're even in there. See, like I may have Windows. I got Hiram's boot CD in there. Let's see. No, well, I've got a couple ISOs in there, yeah. So I don't need multiple copies. All I really need is backups of these files and things like I was saying. Where is it? Contig ISO. That one is 40. Yeah, same size. So what I could do is copy. Actually, it would be funny if this one. Well, from what I gather, it'd be funny if this one would make it work. But see, that's from 2014. I wouldn't think so. But anyway, I can copy that one over there, and then I have to do it over there in the XP. No, I can do it. I can do it from right here. I don't have to do it from there. So let's do that right now. Okay, ISO. Contig ISO, same size. So I'm going to say copy, and I'll just let it suggest a new name. There we go. Now, now I'll have the, that one says 28.2 megabytes once I copied it. I wonder if there's something wrong with it. Oh, it's not done. Goofball. I'm so used to the window popping up and staying there, just a regular, like, up here in the corner, and I don't look up there and see that. Now, sometimes it doesn't update the information, too. There we go. Yeah, now it's the right size. Okay, now see, I was thinking of deleting that and running Make Files Contiguous. I think I'll do that from Windows. No? Yes, no. Sometimes I used to think that I had trouble when I would write files in Linux and then try to write them in Windows and then try to write them in Linux, and I was getting file permission problems. But it turned out that USB adapter that I was using was not working right, and I haven't had that problem since then. So I think that's what the problem is. So that one has a small file extension that has capitals. Huh. I wonder if that means anything. Oh, well, when I copied it, it just did that. Okay. They look to be the same file from 2014. What I'm thinking is if I would delete that, it should, and then run that, it should make it work. So I'm gonna delete it and put it in trash, and that'll be another way I can get it back if I need to. Is it gonna delete it? Maybe I hit the wrong button. I might have hit it so fast I didn't do it right. It used to default to delete. Either that or it can't delete it. It used to default, if you hit delete, it used to default to, well, actually I used to have it set up default to delete forever, but now it goes to cancel and you have to hit the keyboard. Oh, it worked finally. It's just taking a while. No dialogue. I don't think there has been in Crusader though, but anyway, it worked. Okay, so go back to my videos folder. Now I'll have that, 2 backups of it, plus if I needed to, I could bring it back from trash. Oh yeah, I still have, this is what I was talking about there, show. I don't want that like that while I'm going to see. Every one of those stays in there, and they are not just thumbnails, they are the full size file. And what I've been doing is that right there, closing all of those things. So all those screenshots. And you could view them in there, but it's not very convenient. And I cannot get it to not do that. I've tried. They just don't give you an option. Only thing I saw is to do that, and then it'll stop you. And then, but also to close the app. But if you just leave those in there every time it opens up, I meant to close that app a while back. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing with the shutter screenshot. I like it because it has so many features. Okay, so I'm going to try doing that, and I have got myself turned around now. So, okay. Oh, I was in the middle of looking for a VDI or something, but it doesn't matter. Let's see. You can import an appliance, and that will convert some of the ones that are different types, some of them, into workable ones for this, and then you can say add. Add would be like I was just doing, going and looking for a VDI or some compatible file. Like, see, it says virtual machine files, and there's several. It doesn't, a lot of times, you know, you can click on something like that, and it'll tell you. That's downloads, and tell you what's, you know, to look for. So, where was I? Yeah, I got stopped right there. Okay, Pure OS, Puppy, Linux, Builders, that's, you know, boot repair, disk rescue tool. Yeah, it's not going to be a VDI in there. I don't have a whole lot in here. Most of all I saved all my Linux ISOs and stuff all these years, so most of them are on my old machine. Parrot Linux. Oh, that's the picture frame. I always thought I'd try that. That's actually, I don't think it would work on the picture frame I have, but I've downloaded it anyway, thinking I might try it. Raspberry Pi. Multi-boot. Now that's one I made. But yeah, it's an ISO. See what you can do though. The reason I'm going into this, firewall, mobile, okay, Raspberry Pi, SD card images. Now that's my backup of those actually. Multi-boot. Okay. So what? Instead of doing that, I'm gonna just make a new machine because I don't really have. Like I said, I tried importing that four-door automatic, and I don't know. Maybe I got a bad download, or I don't know why, or just won't work in VirtualBox maybe because it's new and not really finished. Now you want to pick your type. You're gonna give it a name. I'll call it. I just call it Linux test box usually. Oh, and look at that. It changed the type. How about that? That's what I was going to do is change it to Linux. So you can choose between Windows. Well, I'm not going to read them off. You can choose between those. 2.6 to 4.64-bit. Huh. I'm not going to necessarily do 64-bit, though. I may do... Sometimes I put other Linux. Oh, other Linux. Well, I don't think it necessarily matters because I've never paid a strict, and you can pick, you know, particular versions even. But yeah, I do want the wide range. Let's see. Okay, I think if I go with 64-bit, like then 32-bit stuff should still run on there. I think that'll be all right, and you can do expert mode and do more stuff. Actually, you might. Oh, that just changed. Use existing, create virtual, do not add a virtual disk. Okay, I'm going to hit cancel on that. Oh, canceled the whole thing. Darn it. Okay, go back to where we were. Linux test box, leave it just like that. Now my memory size, I've got 4 gigs, so I'll go ahead and give it a gig. I forget what it is. What is it? 112. 112. I can't remember. Oh, if you use the keyboard, it jumps at like, yeah, 1023. I think 1024 is what it is, but 1023 is fine. It jumps from there. Yeah, 1023. Create it now. Guide mode. Oh. Let's go through the guide because I could probably, I mean, I can just do create now because I don't think they even used to be there, but. Oh. You got to be kidding me. Every time I click on something, it cancels out what I've got going. And I already know what I want. Next test box. There we go. Next. Oh, it was where oh, now I got 1024. Okay. That's going to be the memory size. It does a lot of weird things. Okay, now, do I have it set for Linux? Yeah, Linux. Okay. Create the net. There's another question. The reason I keep looking around the menus, okay, the recommended size of that hard disk is 8 gigabytes, but it won't be, well, normally it would ask you. They've changed it all up. Normally it would ask you. Let's see. I think it's going to be sort of dynamic. Well, no, not dynamic, but anyway, it will grow as you need it. It won't actually take up 8 gigabyte on your hard drive unless you fill it up. It'll be really small unless you fill it up, which is especially good. Like when mostly all I'm going to do with this is boot ISO files and stuff. And sometimes I actually do install something on there, and that's when it'll start. It'll actually stay and fill it up. But if you pick there's 2 types, the kind of static and dynamic, I'll call them. I forget what they used to call them, but they're not showing you all that right here. And that's why I kept clicking around. I still didn't see what I was looking for. There we go. Now wait. Please choose the type that you would like to use. VirtualBox, VDI, VHD, virtual hard disk, VMDK, virtual machine disk. Well, it works best with VDIs. And there we go. They do call it dynamically. I just was ahead of the wizard here. So fixed size would be the 8 gigabytes. And the size, I didn't see a place to change the size. There used to be like a slider bar to change the size. But go back and see. No, you can't go back that far. Anyway, maybe I missed it. I'm not as with it as I thought it was when I started that. Anyway, that's the one is generally best, I've found. Over the years. And what's this? File allocation size. Okay, there it is. They've got it all backwards instead of having it, you know, backwards to me. Size limit. I don't know if I want, you know, I'm going to go a little bigger because I'm going to go 10 gigabytes. And that's actually did end up filling up 10 gigabytes on my XP, I think. No, I was smaller and I'd fill it. So I think I'm at 9 or 10 gigabytes now. So I want to do that because it won't use it up unless you fill it up by installing that much on there. What I usually do with my Linux test box is if I do install something and I get, you know, I don't want to keep it forever, I'm just testing things out, then I will reformat it, you know, and whatever I put on there. Usually it's taken up like 1 to 3 gigabytes at the most. So now that's how I want it. And there we go. Now you can right click on there and go to settings because it doesn't have anything to boot in it yet, and I don't want to well, let's get into the settings because you need to set it up so that it'll do what you want it to do. Now there's an advanced tab. I'm going to leave those alone for now. And I'm going to have to do kind of a lot of the stuff. Okay, it already has a floppy, optical, hard disk, network. Let's see. Boot device. You could boot to network, but that would... I don't think, yeah, I'm not going to fool around with booting to network. Pointing device, USB tablet. Well, this ain't a USB tablet. PS2 mouse, multi-touch tablet. I don't know why it defaults to USB tablet. Maybe because, maybe it's like USB or tablet. Because, yeah, I don't have a PS2 mouse that have a USB. It's not a multi-touch, so that's weird, but I guess that's going to work. I don't use EFI, the Microsoft boot setup, and the Microsoft BIOS, I'll call it. Processors 1, I don't want to use up all my processors on here. That's plenty for messing around with that stuff. And sometimes you need PAE. Some of them won't boot. Let's see. I'm going to wait before I can finish reading it. That'll be okay because a lot of them are PAE kernels. And there's some of that stuff that says once you do it, you can't take it off. That's why I was reading that. Now, acceleration, default, I'll leave that all alone. Okay, and then display. Yeah, you don't want just 16 megabyte display. Now, I only have 256 megabyte of video memory, so I think I'll just give it like 32. On this machine, I just can't afford to give up a lot. And that should be fine for, if you ever have trouble with something you're running, you can always give it more. One monitor, and I don't want, 3D or any of that stuff. Some things wouldn't work, but I don't want to use up any more resources than I have to. So I'm not going to turn it on. I don't really use 3D much at all. Enable server. You can actually share this virtual machine, on with remote desktop, but I don't usually do that. You could do video capture. I'm not going to enable that because I really don't do that. If I want to capture it, I'll do it the way I'm doing right now using OBS Studio. So, and I think I turned it on before to try it out, and I think it uses a lot of system resources. See, that's the thing. Everything you turn on is going to be used. You're sharing your host OS with this virtual OS, so you got to remember that. Okay, now storage. Now the IDE, that would be the IDE, that's the base, and then it says it's empty. Now, if you want to add an ISO file to boot that ISO, you click you put it down there where it says empty right now, and if you had something in there, it wouldn't be empty. And you could boot you could actually put a CD in the drive. Here this is one that I've booted before, that React OS. Forgot what it was I was going to try to boot. Oh yeah, now I'm going to try to boot to the USB stick. So well, there's two ways I can go about it though. Let's see. Let's go into my downloads folder. I can't remember what all I have in there. Fedora 28. Yeah. Okay. I don't have the one I'll be interested in booting. So I'm going to go to my backup drive. The one I'm interested in booting is Fedora Server DVD i386. I just want to see it boot. So I'm going to do that right now. But I also want to add, easy to boot on my USB. Now here's the SATA. Now this is the virtual hard disk right here. Okay, now that I'm not going to mess with, and I'm not going to change any of that because it's just it's virtual, you can add more stuff. I mean, you can go, let's see, IDE, SATA. You can add IDE. Let's see. I'm trying to see how will I do USB. Add new storage controller. Remove. Okay. Adds new storage attachment. Okay, so I think I want optical or hard disk. No. So let's see about this one. Yeah, here we go. SCSI, SAS, floppy, USB. I want USB. Now, adds an optical drive, adds a hard disk. Okay. Add new storage attachment, optical drive, hard disk. It's the same thing. So, but to this USB controller, I want to add, you are about to add a virtual hard disk to USB. Would you like to create a new empty file to hold the disk? Select. Choose an existing disk. Create a new disk. So I want to choose existing. Now, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I think it's just going to look for a BDI or something like that, because this is what I want. But I can see right here that it's not going to just boot this drive. There is a way to do it. I've done it before. Yeah, see, that's just going into the folders. Now, I could probably boot one of those ISOs, but that's not what I want. I'm just going to leave it right there and see if it will actually end up working. If I don't have anything in there, see, right now I do have that in there. If I take that out, it may boot to that USB default as long as it's plugged into the machine. We'll see. It probably won't, since, well, we'll see. It could have been that XP just couldn't see it. Maybe this one here will see it. But I'm gonna leave it at that's how I want it for now. And then audio, I usually don't change a thing on that. You could do audio input if you wanted, I guess. And network, I usually don't add anything to that. I mean, you can. I've played with it, but it's really no real use unless you were. The only thing you might want to fool, I think I did it one time when I wanted to fool with one of those firewall distros, and I added another virtual network adapter so I could have in from the internet and then out to my local network to try it out. Yeah, I did, and I think I got it working. Anyway, I'm not going to do that now. Serial ports, well, this machine doesn't even have any. USB, okay, so 1.1. Now, there used to be invalid settings. Let's see. So, yeah, I don't know if you can do USB 2.0 still in here. You would think by now you could. Huh. So I'm going to take that one back. It says invalid settings, so I guess it still won't let you do that. You had to only do 1.0. So I'm going to remove that one. Maybe it's still, I don't know, but that's what it's doing to you. You do 3 invalid settings. So anyway, I'm going to add that one and leave it like that. Shared folders, now I'm going to do the same thing again that I did in the XP. Go through here and do the, let's put the Seagate in first because it's going to, and I forgot to mention, and I'm going to go ahead and put auto mount this time. I forgot to mention that when you do, okay, now I'm going to add another one, and it's going to be the when this is not plugged in the machine, which it won't be most of the time. When you boot up, you'll get an error saying, oh, you're missing the drive. Do you want to fix that? Well, if you fix it, then you got to redo all this again. So it's best to just say, no, just go there and you're going to go in that order anyway. It's best for me, I just leave it in there and just say, oh, that's okay, don't worry about it. Okay, now user interface. You can show, you can change things. Let's see. Oh, I see. There's only 2 things to change. I was going to say there are ways to change how all this works, but I'm not going to bother with any of that. Okay, so shared folders, USB, I added one of those. Okay, serial ports, none. Audio, I didn't bother. My storage, I added the USB. I've got 32 megabytes of video memory. That should be fine for pretty much anything I'll do. No remote display. System, I don't need, now this is a boot. This is not, your network accessibility. That's down there in shared folders. Or sharing, and it's not, it's virtual network. You're accessing your hardware machine, not here. Shared folders, that's actually shared through a virtual network. And at least that's the way it used to be. What does that say? Shared folder. Yeah, like those like our mount point. It may have changed how they do it because it's not saying anything about network anymore. Well, that would be better if it's like that. Give you a lot more usable. Okay, so there we go. That's what I want. Now, let's just go ahead and boot it, and it'll boot to that ISO. I want to see if it'll boot in here at all first before I try to boot that easy to boot. Okay, I don't need to check it, so I'm gonna go ahead and make that bigger. So that now I'll hit enter. I use my keyboard, just just like you would normally if it was in the machine. Go up to just. I'm not gonna install this. I'm just gonna boot it up to the boot screen and then I'll quit it. Oh, okay. I was starting to say, do I still have that Windows XP virtual machine running? Some of them won't work. You'll get errors, and maybe you can answer. It'll tell you some hints on what to do to make it work, but sometimes it just won't work. Some of the different, operating systems. I mean, you've got when you're using an ISO, then it can be Windows, it can be Linux, it can be BSD. I guess you can. I don't know if this thing will do. I probably would do some Mac stuff too, some Apple stuff. Android, I've done Android in here before. It'll run Android. But, well, it has to be, I think, special ones that's made to run on, PC processor, Intel or AMD or whatever you've got. Let's see. It'll automatically emulate whatever processor you actually have. But I've seen like in some of the other virtual machine setups in Linux that you can actually pick a type of processor to try, to have it emulate. You can pick sound cards, and you might be able to do that in here. Well, I don't know where you do it. But anyway, that would be the installation. It booted up, and it looked like it would work fine. I'm closing those menus because they always come up telling you how things work. So it looks like it would work, but I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to hit quit. Are you sure you want to quit this? Yes. Now, it'll probably just like go back to the terminal window. So then I'm just going to, we'll see. Oh, it just rebooted. Okay, so what I'm going to do is close the virtual machine. And I always, instead of, I don't want to save the machine state. I just want to power it off. So I'll leave it there for pretty much everything. Okay, so now I'm going to right click on there. Just kind of looking at what they got in there. Settings. Now, go back to storage, and I'm going to just, and you can click that. Let's see. When checked, the virtual disk will not be removed when the system, when the guest system is ejected. Oh, okay. So, well, in hardware, some CDs and DVDs you could eject them after they're booted. It loads it all into memory, and then you could eject them after they're booted and still use the drive, and it can be helpful. So I think that's what that's about, and if you click it, yeah, the virtual disk will not be removed. So if you click that, then you could still change out what's in here, like this right here, without affecting the system you're running. So it could be useful, but I also found it to be a problem in other times. So I'm going to leave it. Now, I just go back to the host drive, and then it shows it's empty unless you actually have something in the drive. You can say remove it, but I kind of like to leave it there because it stays in the list of ISOs. So put it like that, and I'd like to put something in the USB. Let's see. Let's just see if it'll try to boot that USB. I don't think it will, the one that's physically in my machine. But since it's on, no, I don't think it will, but we'll try it. Okay, so that's on the host drive. There's no operating system on the VDI, so it can't boot to that. Now, I'm just double clicking on that to make it start up. It's probably, I kind of think what it'll do is no bootable device. Sorry about all the coughing and everything. I took a cold pill not long ago, and well, a couple hours ago, but I don't want to take another one unless I absolutely have to. Okay, go into the settings again. I wonder if there's something I can do. Okay, that's an empty one. Oh, okay, selected USB device. Now, let's try this. Oh, it can't see it. So, you just can't see it. And I know that in the past, like if you don't add anything in there, it'll still work with the USBs. I mean, your operating system will. Well, it did used to. I'm not sure if it will now. So, a long time ago, I got this to boot older versions like in Fedora 14 to my USB that was plugged into my machine. And it's not the end of the world. I mean, I just was wanting to do it if I could. But it's not. Adds optical drive, adds a hard disk. Choose existing, create new. Yeah, so we don't want to use a disk image. And choose existing is just going to look. That was the last. That's the only VDI I found on there, and I might have like some VM.vms or whatever those other file extensions are. Well, I have some somewhere. I don't think they're actually on this machine. But yeah, that is not going to do it. I could go in here and I could go in there and try to boot. Okay, it's looking for VDI files, or anything that it supports. Yeah, it's not going to, so that's not going to work. I can't boot that USB, so it may not be of actually any use. If you had to say add optical drive, choose disk. Okay, I suppose now, yeah, now it sees ISO. So I could boot an ISO on here if, you know, if I really wanted to do that. I wanted to boot an ISO off of my USB stick, you could do it that way. Although you could probably just go to the USB stick in the first place through the optical drive and it would work. I don't think that would really make any real difference as to how you did that. These are my ISOs I have on there. Okay, so let's forget about trying to boot from that now and go back to my XP virtual machine. I guess I'll try another cold pill because I can't seem to stop. The drainage won't stop enough for me to talk. While that's booting up, I thought I was getting better, but today I'm worse. So, I was checking my sound there. I noticed things change in automatically in XP still, as it always does. I had my volumes missing down at the bottom, right? And when I turn the, well, I don't know, it might now, but when I turn the volume knob, it generally only works on my host machine. And of course, this tells you about your mouse and all that stuff and the integration and what's going on there. But yeah, my Avast is, that's the only thing I should have really running. But there should be a volume deal right there, and I always forget how to put it back too. Anyway, yeah, it's booting up pretty quick actually. I want to see, right, well, I need the file manager anyway, but let's see how much space is left on the C drive. Oh, see, now I have my expansion drive, my Seagate, and my 32 gigabytes. So now we're good. We can access both of them. Total size, 9.98 gigabytes. Free space, 1.98 gigabytes. The resize is gone that I did to it. Well, it's big enough, just big enough to use, but that's not enough to, you know, if I run it for very long, the cache would fill it up. But I'm gonna have to recheck and see what happened. Maybe I can go back in here and resize it, and it'll fix it. Hopefully it won't. I don't know how it went away because I had that all straightened out. I had it with plenty of extra space, like 5 more gig or whatever. But anyway, let's go in here. And what I had, I remember now what I'd done. I had deleted that Make Files Contiguous ISO. So I think it's in the, the config ISO file. I think it's in the ISO folder. And so I deleted that. I'm going in circles, it feels like. So I imagine it feels that way to anybody else for sure. Make this drive contiguous, double click on that, and it tells you, do you want to run this, so on, blah, blah, blah. Run it. Now let's see if we get the full run of it, like normal. This is just, it opens up this little terminal window. It's all automatic. It's a script. It's a script is what it is. I mean, it's running a script. That SCMD file. Now it just did that again. Just closed. It didn't open up the little GUI like it used to. So I'm not so sure that it ran properly. Let's see if it has the config ISO file. I don't see it. it was in the ISO directory, so I may have messed it up. We'll see. Now, see, I'm going to have to go put it in a different machine now to boot it is the thing. And since I can't boot it in the virtual box, it's not the end of the world, but I think without the make files, I think that should be there. And I thought that might do it. It might run it. I'm trying to make sure it's a little bit smaller, a little hard for me to read. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing it. And those FSCK files, that's from running the Linux FSCK on it. Those are all in there. At some point I ran that on this. It might have got broken. I might have fixed it. I don't know. I'm tempted to try to run some other Defrag app on it, but I don't know if that would. I tried that before, I think. Test run as admin. So you could try and boot it like that. I'll try it right quick and see what happens. It's quite a bit. Well, I won't boot anything on it, just its basic. See what happens. Run it. Now that's actually running a virtual machine inside. Qimu, that's the other one. That's another virtual machine. Administration permission confirmed. Qimu is one where you can select your hardware and stuff. I think I've used it before in here. Just like I said, you don't want to run much of anything in there because I think it says failed. Yeah, it failed. Can't do it. Hit enter. It closes it down. So I guess I should copy that file back over there. So only problem is I can't. Yeah, it went in the ISO folder, didn't it? Well, let's go look at the other drive, backup drive, and see. I need 2 windows. I can't do it this way. Let's use Total Commander. I do not like. I always never liked Windows Explorer, and so that's when I learned about Total Commander. The first twin panel file manager I ever found. It was called Windows Commander back in those days, and Microsoft sued them for a little company and made them change their name. But anyway, this one, program backups, that's on the C drive. Let's see, 32 gigabyte, and let's go to the what's that? Program backups. Oh, I saved the make. Yeah, so I could make an E2B drive. You actually don't want to run that on the drive you're making it on. It's like if you had it would reformat it and everything. And that's what I may do. That's what I need to do. Is just make a new one, I think. But I keep trying to fix this one because I'm hard-headed that way. Let's see now. I forgot where my backup. There it is. There's my backup right there. Okay, now I think it's supposed to be in the ISO folder. Config. What do we got here? Why is that one somewhat looks so config ISO? That one's big. Where's the other one that I was trying to look at the properties? No, it's not as big as I thought. 476 megabytes, but I don't see the. Am I just missing the copy that I made of it? That is in the ISOs folder. Yeah, there's not one in there. That's 2014. Let's see if I have it somewhere else. don't see how it could have went away. Oh, it may not be showing up because it has the parentheses in the file name. I guess I can go over there and look at it in Linux. Yeah, none of that's got anything to do with it. Yeah. Well, the one that I had didn't work, so what from what I read in that help for it, on the screen when I was trying to boot it, was that it needed to be bigger than that ISO. That means I need a 2.5 gig, 2.55 gig config ISO file. I don't know. I mean, how else can I get one that big without just copying a huge file over there and then renaming it config ISO? It said a file any type, but it has to have that name. So maybe I should just do that. Yeah, let's go over here and look at this. I think it's just not showing up. I think I won't try to access it from two file managers at the same time. I don't know what that would do. Okay, now let's go back over here to, yeah, that's it right there, isn't it? That was where it was. Yeah, config ISO, the one I backed up has the space, and I think it's the parentheses. It's not showing up in Windows XP. Okay, but that's the file I think. Since I know this one doesn't work, I think that's the one I would use anyway. And but really thinking now, if I want, the only clue I have as to how I can get this thing to work is to it just doesn't make sense to me as to why that doesn't run and work anymore. I tried it with that config ISO file in there, and I've tried it with nothing in there. That always changes again. Okay, so right click in Crusader, you right click to get the properties and do all kinds of stuff. That doesn't work in Total Commander. I got myself turned around. So I just want that name. I'm going to name it exactly like that. But what I'm going to do, I guess, is I'm thinking, well, if it says any kind of file, well, I don't know. Let's use ISO. Let's just use an ISO because we know that that should work. Okay. Linux. Some of these ISOs I have in here, I may just copy one over. Actually, let's go by size. None of these are that big. Okay. Let's go by date again. Doesn't move so fast, does it? Okay. Make sure everything's still working over there. Go to my downloads folder. I was thinking, well, I could put a video. I know I got plenty of big video files. I could put a video file in there and then just name it, but I don't know. I think since it has to do with ISOs, I'm going to go ahead and use an ISO file. Let's see. Oh yeah, and Total Commander doesn't organize the folders, it just does files, so it doesn't do you any good to. I have to find Linux. You also can't type in there to get to a folder. Well, you can if you type the exact spelling of where you're going. Whoops, that wasn't it. Okay, and Fedora 29. Yeah, that's a small one. That's net install. 28. I don't think any of these are anywhere near that big, except for all that checksum stuff is what's giving me headaches. They're very long file. It turns out to show up as a very long file extension. Okay. There's a 64-bit server DVD, and that's the i386 274. Oh, that's the AARC. I just still don't get why that doesn't work. It just bugs the heck out of me. Before I do that, one more thing. Let's see. I keep thinking about trying it, so let's look. Let's see. Let's minimize this so it won't be up in my face there. Defrag. Regular defrag. That's what I'm wondering. I think I tried this before and it didn't work. I probably have. Let's look on the desktop. I used to always put things like defragler on there and stuff. Or I know what I probably have on there is Glare Utilities. That has a good defrag in it. The regular basic Windows defrag was what I was going to look for, but I just remembered. I'll try Glare Utilities defrag on there. If I can. And then again, it might that special one that they send with it may be, you know, well, I mean, it's not working now, but I don't know. Maybe I better put that config ISO back on there, though. I keep thinking it's fouling things up because it's the wrong size, and it can't be changed for somehow or some reason, you know. Let me go back in there and copy it back over. Getting it back like it normally is probably the best thing to do. Now I've forgotten what folder I need to be in. Oh yeah, I remember. I'm going to copy the old original one instead of the one I just took off of there, over there. And I'll do it in Windows XP instead of Linux, because I know I'm afraid I'll run into, no, I don't want to do anything right now. SD card, it still wants to keep asking me stuff. ISO, config ISO. Okay, now we're in ISOs, copy. Now, don't expect, I mean, for all I know, that could make it work, but I don't think it would. It's not going to be super fast, I guess, at copying, but should be all right. And this is what I was talking about. In Crusader, used to have a little window like that would open up, and it always opened up over here on that side. I got, yeah, that Glare Utilities uses a lot of resources, doesn't it? See, it didn't drag. Let's see what I got going on the system. Everything's pretty well okay. It's just could be video memory. I wouldn't think so. That, you know, I only have 32 meg set in there. I guess that's what I have. I might have more than that. I might put 64 in this this one. I didn't look. That was the new one I made. So copying the files seems to be giving a little work. There it goes. Just don't do anything else. Be patient. Hard thing to do. Then I'll close Total Commander before I try to do anything in Glare Utilities. I had figured I would go straight back to working on my DNS server on the NetPro Max, but this all came up, and I just thought I really need to get this going, you know. And so it hangs me up every time I'm trying to do something. So, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, why am I still trying to fix this when I could probably already have been done making a new one? When I saw that file for making the new one, I thought, wait a minute. All I have to do is back up my files that are on there and then make a new one, let it reformat it, do all that stuff, and then copy whatever ISOs I need as I need them, unless it just doesn't work again, you know. I actually need to, I think I should download the newest version of Easy2. That's a pretty old version now. Might be more compatible with, you know, newer ISOs. I'm sure it would be. Yeah, that's what I need to do. And so I just keep thinking, oh, it'll take forever. And so, who knows? Sometimes you're right. Sometimes, half the time you're wrong. It's just that it worked. So before I ran that Make Files Contiguous, how many times it had it work perfectly? Just one day. Well, right around the time I had trouble with that other adapter, USB adapter, that's when it started not working. Of course, that file could have been corrupted because it turned out it was reading and not reading. You know, it was doing crazy things because it would let me write. It would only let me write within my Windows XP virtual machine one time, and then the next time I couldn't write in Linux, you know, and it would just really throw me for loops because I thought I was having file permission fights between Windows XP and my Linux system, which I had before when I used to network between them a lot. And what I had, a workaround I had figured out was to go to the files and folders and share them on the network and say anybody, world writable, anybody can write to them, and it fixed it. Well, that wasn't working, so now it should be done. So then somehow I finally figured out, I think I saw it mounting. Yeah, it started mounting and unmounting, and that's when I finally realized there's something going on really wrong here. And so I started using, I had two of these adapters. I had they came with the Strontium 64 gigabyte USB SD cards, that I bought. And actually, the SD card I'm using is a Wintec, and it comes with a full-size adapter, but not a USB adapter. It works fine, except for it's a little loose in there, and it won't. That's why I put tape on it to keep it from falling out, because it could actually fall out. And that was what I thought I had trouble with at first, when it was reading and not reading and stuff. Okay, so I'm done with that. So, Startup Manager, check for updates, upgrade now. Oh, check for updates when the program starts, which in Windows, that's actually a good thing. Check for software updates automatically. Doesn't necessarily need to do it when the program starts. Oh, you can't change that without paying for it. Okay. Maintenance, advanced tools, I think is where I want to go. Oh, there's stuff down here too. Might have seen it down there. Registry. This is the best Windows utility I've found in years. I've used several different ones over the years, and it'll work in 7 and all that too. Disk space. Compare system files. There we go, Defrag. boot defrag. Now, I don't want to do the, this is the XP virtual machine. I want to do that, so let's see if it'll work. You know, before I do that, I should try and see if what I did already makes it boot or not, shouldn't I? Just thought of that. Well, let me see. Defragging it won't hurt it, but it would be nice to know what I've done to fix it, wouldn't it? Okay, so yeah, let's just leave this sitting here running because I should be able to, I'm not accessing that drive or anything right now. I should be able to just take, I think I can just take this out. I might have to reboot XP though. Yeah, I would. It won't see it. If I take it out and put it back, it's not going to automatically see it. Alright, I'm not that worried about, I just want it fixed. If I don't know for sure how I fixed it, it's not the end of the world. Let's see if I can defrag that drive. I forgot how slow this is in the virtual machine though. It's very helpful, and like one of the best tools in here is it searches all your software on your machine, on your Windows system, I mean, and got to make sure, since I'm in the virtual machine, I'll make sure I'm clear about that. And it looks for updates, and it'll download them for you, and then you have to manually install them. But now it does not see anything but C drive, so it's not going to work. Okay. So, and it looks like it's pretty good already. Free space, use space. I'm not going to do that right now. But okay, so I can't. Wait. Oh, defrag a folder. There we go. Let's see if I can do it that way. Yeah, see, it's not showing up in network places. I think it used to show up in network places. I think they've changed that. Yeah, it used to show up in my network places, I think, these drives. So I think they're actually straight up shared like they should be. Okay, 32 gigabyte. There we go. Okay, but I don't want to do C drive. Let's just unclick it. Boot time defrag. You can do a normal boot time defrag. But is it going to bring in that folder? It's like it didn't work. Simultaneous. Okay, yeah, a lot of nice settings in there. Defrag a file, defrag a folder. Okay, so seemed like it didn't do it. Forgot you could do something like that, individual files. Okay, did I hit cancel instead of OK? Because OK's in my mind should be on the right. Maybe that's what I did. Nope, I did it. Okay, I did it right. I clicked it the way I should. It's not showing it like you're going to be able to do it. Why does it have the option? But well, maybe it's, well, it doesn't pop up a message saying you have to pay for it to be able to do that. I don't think it would do any good to just pick that one file because it seems that the Contiguous is a report of running that on there. Now, that's something I could do. I could try running Make Files Contiguous again. Well, I can't. This is not working. Okay. Defrag a folder. Try it from there again. Who knows? Sometimes that kind of stuff works in one spot and not in the other. 32 gigabyte. Oh, well, can you? No, you can't select more than one folder. Wonder if I could just do those folders. That's what it is. I'm selecting a drive. Well, I think no, that didn't make any difference. And I'm waiting for it to, like, if it's needing to analyze or anything, but it's not doing it. Okay. So let's just close Glary. It's not going to do it. And the standard defrag, let's look and see. I'm kind of thinking maybe you can't do that. There, defragger. Let's find out. I don't think I have any. Like, there's one called Defragler that I used to like. It was fast and easy to use, but I don't think I have that on this machine. But the standard Windows defrag, we'll see see if it'll let you pick something else. Yeah, it's just going to do the drives on the system anyway. Okay, so that's not going to help. Okay, so I copied that over there. So let's go ahead and try running the Make Files Contiguous on there again. I'll just go in here this time. Unless it would help to run it through. I don't think it would help to run it through Total Commander. Well, who knows? Let's try running it from Total Commander. Sometimes if you do have a permission problem, it's running it and trying to do something from Total Commander, but it'll do it in Explorer. My computer opens Windows Explorer, if you didn't know that. But Total Commander, open, Sesame. There you go. Funny. By the way, XP, you can, well, I don't know if it's built in without installing, but you can, like, install some of the extra stuff off the CD. I think it's what you have to do to get voice commands, but XP would do voice commands. I was thinking about doing something with something like that. Actually, I was thinking about doing it on a phone or a tablet, but phones will do it. Tablets will do it too, won't they? Anyway, yeah, okay, here we go. Make this drive contiguous. Let's see what happens if we double click it. It should just run. Yep. See if it runs right this time. It goes away pretty quick. If there was an error, you don't get a chance to see it. Yeah, ISO config execute. So it's going to ISO docs WinConfig execute defrag close for clean lang auto no ini quick. So that's the basics of the script. It says please wait, making all files contiguous. But I've learned that when it just does that and doesn't open up the GUI, it generally is not working. But, and if you go in here again, where's contiguous? So there it is. Is it any bigger? Almost looks like it could be bigger, but I don't know. I think that's just messed up. Yeah, no, it's the same size as it has been. So I don't think it's going to run, but let's try it now. We've played with it long enough. I think before well, I'm thinking about it while it's plugged into here. I won't do it from here. I'll do it from my Linux system. Let's turn it off. And get out of VirtualBox, and then I'll back that all this stuff up. Delete that extra config ISO file. Well, I guess I'll leave it until I'm sure if I need it or not. And I don't need to back up all the ISOs though, so I think I'll skip the ISOs folder. What is it I want to back up? Oh, my personal files. Yeah, that's really all I need to back up. And I think, well, I don't know. I may have probably just for the sake of making it quicker, instead of backing them all up to where they actually belong, I just back them up to this. That's why I did that last time, I think. So, Seagate expansion drive, easy to boot, yeah. So, yeah, see my files here. Oh, I don't have my, do I have my files in there? Oh, doesn't look like I do. I guess I did them where they belong, that's what I did before. Yeah, I did. I wonder if I have a lucky backup set up for that. Because I'm sitting here thinking, well, oh, that's how I could do it. Documents. Yeah, I'll do it that way because I don't know. Well, what if I do have a lucky backup? That really is a lot quicker. I don't think I do, but it's not in the right spot. Yeah, I made that the other day for my websites. Okay. And see, I'm gonna make sure, because I could have made it in the super user mode. Just the phones and the normal backup. Okay. So, yeah, if I do it the way it's supposed to be, documents. Okay, so I'll select all those, right click, synchronize selected, right to left. There's going to be some stuff, I think. Most of it's been copied from over here, or from my machines, you know. Yeah, if I don't do that, yeah, there's a few things. Okay. 17. They're same size and everything. I think I'm going to say most likely they should be skipped because the newest version should be over here, not over here. Okay, downloads. There's quite a bit of stuff in the downloads folder. Surprised. Yeah, that should be okay to do it that way, I guess. Okay. It's probably going to add some junk in some wrong places, but I don't want to spend forever doing this. So, yeah, some of that. Synchronize right to left. Put skip. Because most of the time, the newest stuff is going to be screenshots, pictures, screenshots. Let's just do it that way. Now on screenshots, it could turn out that some of them are, go back into documents. That would be in my documents, my XP license keys. something to do. Yes. Go away. Turn away. There's nothing to see here. Okay, still making error. Okay, so now I'm not going to do it right now, but now I can actually reformat that thing if I want to without losing anything. Okay, so I'm going to take it out of this machine. Can't reboot this one. It's now safe to remove. Okay. Now I'm going to have to put it in a machine in order to boot it up. I was actually kind of thinking about putting it in the laptop, but the one I'm using to monitor my feed here. But if I do that, then let's go to the you wouldn't be able to. I couldn't show it, but the camera's already on the monitor. So if I plug it in, it's kind of hard to get to the Net Pro Max, but it'll be a good candidate. I'll do it. I'll do that. I can do it. Have done it. So let's kind of do it. Hold in the right direction. Gosh. Almost impossible for me to do this. Wait a minute, maybe if I do it left-handed. Just a little tight spot in there, and my right hand wouldn't twist the right way. But finally I realized, oh, well, let's do it left-handed. Okay, now switch to the other machine. And turn it on. Okay. Still hadn't come up yet. I'm on the wrong machine. Now I've got papers in the wrong place and they're driving me crazy. All those sticky notes I have under there. Gonna have the I think it took so long to boot that no, it's still going to be the wrong size, I think, video, but that's okay. Well, it might not be okay here in a minute, but we'll see. There we go. I'll hit something on the keyboard so we can see something beside those three dots. You know what? I think it's booting up to, yeah, it didn't see the card. It's booting up to Fedora 28, my server. I was thinking, no, that doesn't look familiar for that thing, and that's because that isn't that thing. I'll have to do something to get it to recognize that thing. Assuming that I got it plugged in right. You have to be careful because that case is cracked on that adapter, and you can plug it in wrong, but usually it stops about halfway in. Yep, there it is, the server. See if I can do that. Type reboot. Probably have to be logged in for it to work. Tells you the admin console IP, and it tells you the oh, it wants to log in. Not quite sure. I think I remember it. Can hit, yeah, I can hit Control Delete. It works. It's not. Actually, that's kind of not good that you can do. I mean, if you're stuck, you need to do that. But Control Delete without any. If you're up and running, see the server was up and running. If I was trying to use the server, can't remember if it's delete or F1 or what to get to. I'll just hit delete and F1 until I get it. Yeah, get it to beep at me or do something. Boot devices, removable. Yeah, should be good. Let's see, hard disk. Yeah, bring the mass storage device. Sometimes it sees it as one thing and then another. But I just bring it up to the top and then it'll be exit and save changes. Now it should see it and boot to that. And it'll get a chance to adjust the screen to the right size and everything. Since I wasn't on the right machine, it would have been wrong size. All right. It looks like I saw something that looks like the easy to boot screen. So what I'll be seeing here is if that ISO that I wanted to boot to will boot now. I kind of doubt that it will. I386 DVD. Yep. It's not contiguous or is corrupt or missing. Please run RM prep USB control F2 or make drive contiguous all files control F2. What does control F2 do? Or run make files contiguous, which I've done twice. Change that contig file out. Oh, and it says so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. Error, ISO config is smaller than the ISO Linux Fedora server ISO file. Cannot copy. Oh, it's copied over to that. I see. Replace config ISO with a larger file, any contents. So press enter to try a reboot. That's the thing I see, you know, every time like when it's like this. So I guess if it says any content, so oh, I see what it does. It copies, unpacks your ISO and puts, well, but if it's unpacking, it's going to be bigger than. So I wonder if I put me like a 5 GB video on there and then just rename it to config ISO, is it going to work? This is what I had in my head before. I can either do that or just rebuild the thing from scratch, which probably makes more sense. As much trouble as I've had, I think I should rebuild the thing from scratch. Even though that may work, I think I did that before. Generally what I do is just delete the ISO I've been trying to boot and quit fooling with it. But okay, I'm going to press enter and it'll go through trying to different ways it could try to make it work. Let's see, this may not work on NTFS, may not work on volume label does not match the file name. Will not work if the ISO label contains spaces. ISO label, okay. Whatever those commands are, kernel. So it's trying to give you something to try and make it work. Press the key to boot. There is one thing. Oh, booting using ISO cheat codes. Oh, okay. There is one thing you can do is let's change the ISO file extension from ISO to something else, but you don't have to do that on the other Fedora ISOs, the ones that are older that's been on there longer. I'm just going to hit enter. I'm having trouble comprehending all that stuff right now. Let's see, it's loading ISO Linux on Nitrid. Oh, it was unpacking that file to try and boot. But it hasn't ever worked before, so. Or it didn't the last time when I tried to boot it on, well, it was the IBM. Now I'm on the NetPro Max. If it does work, then I'll know that there's something going on there. Now it's looking as if it's trying to boot. So far, I'm seeing a bunch of OKs in there. I'll be darned. Don't tell me it's going to work. Which doesn't mean anything on the NetPro Max, though. If it won't boot on the... See, this is what I wanted to use to install Fedora 28 server on the IBM. There's this i386 version of it. It's not really a 386 version, but that's what they name the files. Ever since back in those days. 32-bit, run on anything up to about, should run on anything up to about an i686. I think that machine is a 586. I guess they couldn't, it's too big. I mean, the operating system couldn't run on a 386 because they don't have the resources, but I guess it would be compatible with the system if it had the memory and processing power to do it. We'll see. It reach system initialize, reach target system. I don't remember the last time I tried it on the IBM. Yeah, I feel like I'm on a huge sidetrack now. It was supposed to be a shorter sidetrack. I am, because I can tell lots of time has went by. Well, here we go, an hour and 59 minutes. So, and I'm getting pretty hungry for my lunch now. I'm feeling a little bit hungry when I started. Sometimes I feel hungry when it's really not time to eat, though, because of my blood sugar and all that stuff. So I thought, well, it's not been that long since I ate my breakfast. But I'm drinking my coffee like it's food, and there's no sugar in my coffee. It's just straight coffee, so it's not going to do anything but give me a little caffeine and a little coffee flavor. But, yeah, so anyway, once I see what happens here, I think I will quit, take a break, eat lunch and all that stuff, and then I either go ahead and redo that easy to boot, download and remind myself here, download the new version. Don't just, run what I have. Might end up in the same trouble. Go to the website, download the new version, and then, let it format the disk, the SD card. Because, like I said, I've mentioned this a couple other times. I actually kind of did a workaround off of their website, but I had those files, my personal folder, on that SD card already. I didn't want to delete them. I think at the time I didn't even have a place to put them. I didn't have enough space. And so I did it in a different way, and then it turned out that if I did that, I knew it when I did it, but in order to make your installs work, I had to use another USB stick with a helper file on it in order to, you could boot to them, but the install wouldn't work. And of course, the first time I tried to install Windows 7, I believe is what it was, I forgot that, and it went right through it very happily and then failed. Then I got to, figured it out and did use it once. I think it was on something. And as far as the Linux ISOs, it just recommends don't even try to install them. They just generally don't work, especially Fedora. In order to install Fedora, you can boot the ISO like I have been doing, but well, the older ones work anyway. Maybe the new ones aren't even going to work. Well, like I said, if I get the new easy to boot, maybe they will. But it says you might be able to install some Linux distros from this, but really it's meant to just be a live system to check them out. Well, I mean, you can use them for rescue and all kinds of stuff. But, yeah, don't try to install from easy to boot. Go ahead and use the Fedora media writer and write it to, something that you're going to, USB stick or You can use an SD card in the USB adapter, or well, I just happened to notice this. I didn't realize it, but this Dell 6000 laptop actually has an SD card slot on it. So you could put this small SD card, micro SD card, into a full size adapter and boot to that. But I have another laptop that I never use, an Acer, that has a broken screen and it had a bad hard drive. Well, actually, I had get two, that Dell 1525 and that. My buddy found them in a box in the washateria with a note that said, if anybody wants these, take them. And they were broken up, and well, that one had a busted screen. Both of them were full of viruses, and one of them had a bad hard drive. And so I think the good hard drive was in the Acer, and I put it in the Dell because it was it had a good screen, and I think it was the same speed, actually, 2 gigahertz. Dual cores, but anyway, I never have I didn't want to spend the money buying a laptop hard drive, and I never have. I mean, you can use the hard drives by just plugging in the VGA connector. I mean, you can use the laptops. You don't have to have the screen. But I've done that. I've messed around with it, but I've never put it to use. Now it looks like maybe we're getting errors. Dracoot. Timeout scripts. Starting timeout scripts. That's what it's saying. And it's given numbers, Dracoot, into queue, number, warning, Dracoot, into queue, and int, queue, timeout. But it's just saying that over and over and over with different numbers each time it's counting up. So the last thing it had that that looked okay was reach target basic system, and now it's doing that. So looks like it's not gonna work. Just like it said, it probably wouldn't work and all those things. Of course, we humans, we have to try it anyway. It's not like defragging it or doing anything like that. It's not unpacking anything. I can see that. It's just, I think that's just a counter that it's doing because it's Dracoot. I forgot what that is. The RACUT. I forgot what it does, but anyway, it's something that for some reason is not starting up right, and it's just keeping on trying. Evidently, it's going for a long time. So, yeah, if I'm going to use my Easy to Boot on anything besides what's already on it, and I keep needing to use it on other stuff, that's the whole reason I built it, so that I could add and remove distro ISOs. When I want to use them, put them on there, and then, like say, when they get outdated, I can delete them and then put the newer ones on there. And that did work really nicely for a while. Once in a while, it would give an error like this error I'm having, and then I would run Make Files Contiguous, and it would fix it, and it'd work again. But then it quit working. So yeah, probably the newer versions. Well, does it work? I think it might have worked with a couple of newer domains, but not with Fedora. Oh, now it's quit. Oh, it's okay now. Virtual console. Oh, it's okay. So boot FS base does not exist. Run on it frams RD so and so. Entering emergency mode, just like my server's been doing. So it's in the emergency console. So yeah. So it's not going to work. So I'm going to hard shut it down. And if I want to use this ISO, I'm going to have to, or any of these newer ones, evidently. Every one I've tried since Fedora 26 or so, I think, have not worked that I can remember. I'm going to have to rebuild my Easy to Boot stick. Okay. Quit fooling with it. Remember that. Just redo it. Okay, so I don't know if I want to do that or go back to messing with my DNS server. I was right there. I mean, I got it all done and ran through the install instructions, but I didn't quite figure out how I could test it, see that I could reach it, with a domain name without shutting down my server out there. Actually, I don't have to shut it down. I can just change my router to this machine. Still, it would make me be offline, but I still have to think about that. That's hard stuff, that DNS stuff for me. So anyway, yeah, let me shut this down. All right. Switch back. So, OBS is using some little bit of more resources. I caught you, didn't I? Okay, so yeah, I'm really getting hungry. So I'm going to eat lunch and think about what I'm going to do next. Once I get in the middle of something I don't like, I like to finish it, but then sometimes when it becomes so long and drawn out, well, see, I didn't finish what I didn't come back. My plans were to just go back to my DNS stuff today, but then I was thinking about that and how it's always a pain. So I decided, I'll take a little time and mess with it, But I mean, 2 hours and 9 minutes is not that super long, but it's about at least an hour longer than I really thought I would spend on it. So, especially since I didn't really get anywhere. But anyway, well, I did get the Windows XP virtual machine running, and I think I'm going to go ahead. I don't really have a good machine that I want to put. That's an idea. That laptop I was talking about would run Windows 7. It's nice to have just a hardware machine with Windows on it, and XP's too old for anything. And I'm still getting updates. I've talked about that before by setting it up as a WinTerm, basically Windows Terminal Professional setup. There's registry settings, but 2019 is when they quit, and that's around the corner. So if I put Windows 7, I could put it on that laptop if I had. I could use this. I'd have to buy another one or use this SD card. It'd be just big enough, 32 gig. Not really. I put it on a 30 gig hard drive and then filled it up in no time. I could get a bigger SD card and either that or every time I look at hard drives, it's just like I spent, let's see, well, you don't see them for that anymore, but I got those 64 gig SD cards for, this is I think I paid like 10 or 11 bucks for these Wintech 32 gigabytes, and I paid 15 bucks for those Strontium SD cards. They're not available anymore that I've seen. Well, I mean, not like on Amazon, I think is where I got them. They were on sale. But anyway, 64 would be okay. That's plenty. Once you jump up to like 128, they get too much more expensive. But if I had a 64 gig SD card and I'm pretty sure that Acer has an SD card reader, put it in the big regular size SD card adapter, and that could be my drive for that thing. If I got it for 15 bucks again, that'd be fine. Be great. Or even, I guess, 18 or 20 would be all right. But then you may be, getting up into where you could just buy about that size of a hard drive, too. Hard drive would be better because SD cards corrupt too easy. You can be running along and fine, and then all of a sudden one day they just go blah, and you got to start over. They're a lot less dependable. I don't care what they say. They are a lot less dependable than hard drives. Because I've used them both enough to tell that, especially that the Raspberry Pi has one fatal flaw. The original one that I had, it's like B, I think, model. The only way, you either shut it down from the software or you unplug it. And what the problem is, well, the problem that I had with it, I had to reformat it. I had fixed it a few times with like gparted, but I had to reformat it at least twice. I had it on the TV for 2 years as a media player, and that Raspberry Pi, and the power go out sometimes. You know, it just happens when you have storms. Well, that would break that file system, and it, you know, and hardly ever happens on my Linux. This was running Linux. It's running XBM. Well, it was called XBMC Media Player at the time, and then they changed it to some other name, Kodi. But it's a Linux system, and same basic file system as any other Linux, you know, Debian or Fedora or whatever. And well, of course, I'm experiencing that now with my Fedora 23 server. But like I said before, I think only since 2005 when I discovered Linux, it's only like the third time I've had a file system break. I just now thought, well, no, that counts. The SD cards, I was thinking of on, you know, regular machines with hard drives. But now if I count the SD cards in the Raspberry Pi, and the quality of the SD card has a lot to do with it, they say, you know, when you read about it. That was the SD card that they sold as part of the kit. I think I bought it with the Raspberry Pi. So it was one they had made and they sold under their brand name. I think it had the noobs on it, the Raspberry Pi noobs, for newbies, came on it, which I didn't use it. I reformatted it with what I wanted, you know. That had the Raspberry Pi Debian version on it. I played with it and then I took, you know, reformatted it. But yeah, that did break 3+ times. And like I said, I fixed it 2 or 3 times. Fixed it 2 or 3 times with gparted, but there was at least twice when I had to just reformat it. It couldn't be fixed. I think it might have broke 5 times. It was very aggravating. I think I broke it once right shortly after I got it, just by unplugging it with it running, because that's what I thought. I thought it was okay to do that, but it wasn't okay to do that. I thought since they made it that way and they didn't give it a power switch or anything, like when you set up your computer to hold that switch in for 4 seconds, it tells that operating system to try to shut down. It gives it a chance to at least start shutting down. I have noticed that. Now, if you set your machine to where if you just hit the button, it goes down, that will, especially with Windows, can break your Windows file system pretty quickly and easily. So that's one reason, by the way, I always set all my machines to, your desktops. You can't do it with laptops. They do what they do. Well, you might be able to on some of them. But anyway, to delay for the 4-second delay before shutting down when you hard shut it down. But it's a lot easier. It gives your operating system a chance to pretty well shut down. It depends on the operating system and how long it takes to shut down. That's why I say that. Some of them can shut down that quick and some can't. But it gives the file system a chance to try to, I don't know the particulars of what it does, but it gives it a chance to try to finish writing. I've got you can see what I'm doing, can't you? I've got a peeled up skin there, dry and sticking off and driving me crazy. Can't get it though. It's too small. Big enough to drive me crazy, but not big enough to get a hold of. Well, if I try harder, maybe get my magnifying glass. So anyway, I'll go eat lunch. Come back after that. Okay. See you later.